This virtual ceremony is about acknowledging the years of hard work and shared vision of Hamilton East Kiwanis Homes and our partners.
Affordable and accessible housing remains one of the most significant challenges the City of Hamilton faces, and that's why we're pleased to contribute $1.5 million in capital investment towards the Kiwanis 6 Acorn development. This new 8-story, 60-unit mixed-income housing development ensures that the benefits of high-quality, safe, and affordable and energy-efficient housing are extended to meet the needs of our community. This building will be used to provide affordable housing to singles, couples, single parents and couples with children who have low and moderate incomes. So to further improve the affordability of the building, the city is working with Kiwanis to ensure that 30% or 20 units of the development's 60 apartments are filled by households on the Access to Housing wait list. In addition, Kiwanis Homes is partnering with Choices Association to provide supportive housing to 6 to 12 individuals who have developmental disabilities. The city continues to invest and take steps to address the emergency needs in the community and also balance longer-term permanent solutions to our housing pressures, such as this project. These investments in supportive and affordable housing are a key step to an inclusive economy and economic recovery following the pandemic. And I'm delighted to learn this important project is being named after former City of Hamilton Mayor Jack McDonald. Jack was a longtime board member for Kiwanis and a true community champion. His contributions to city building and creating a more inclusive Hamilton for all will always be remembered through his tremendous legacy and now through the naming of this building. I look forward to the development of this great asset in the community, and I commend Kiwanis in bringing their vision to life and bringing inclusive communities together.
Congratulations, Kiwanis Homes, on the official groundbreaking of 6 Acorn Street. As your Ward 3 City Councillor, I look forward to welcoming the 60 new households who will be calling this 8-story building their home. Thank you, Kiwanis Homes, for investing in building this affordable housing solution. You know, this pandemic has really truly shown us just how critically important it is for people to have access to safe, dignified, secure housing in order for all of our neighbors to thrive together. Your commitment has been consistent, and I just want to say thank you for remaining vigilant in your strategic vision, not only providing affordable, dignified, and safe rental housing, but also supporting your long-term tenants towards a path to affordable home ownership. I think what you have all done, not only as an entity on your own, but also in deep coalition with the City of Hamilton and all of our social housing partners under the umbrella of Hamilton is Home and the bold vision of delivering 3,000 new affordable units in the next 3 years, is exactly the type of not only vision, but action that we need after this pandemic to ensure that there is truly a just recovery for all. So again, congratulations, Kiwanis Homes. I look forward to welcoming our 60 new households in Ward 3 with you all when this building is complete. And hopefully by then we'll be able to safely gather together and mark that beautiful occasion together. Take care, everyone.
You are about to learn more about this project and, more importantly, meet the family of Jack McDonald. We are dedicating and naming this affordable housing project after one of our founding members. We couldn't think of a more appropriate way to recognize and honor his commitment and dedication to Kiwanis Homes.
So hello, it's a pleasure for me to meet all of you as well. I'm new to Kiwanis Homes. I just started in the fall. So when this discussion about the naming of our project at 6 Acorn started, and then to hear the staff speak of your father so passionately and the work that he'd done, it just really inspired me. It was, moving to hear, and our staff have, really frame that, and that's where we went forward in reaching out to you to have this conversation, and honor to have the building named after your dad. So that's the position that I'm coming from. So I certainly welcome you today, and I'm excited to hear more. I have heard that story about him walking down the Red Hill. So I'm an avid runner myself, and I've participated in the ever famous it's the Hamilton Run for Hope. And we ran down the Red Hill Parkway, so towards the Confederation Park. So I have had that experience.
Easier, isn't it? It's a lot easier running downhill, isn't it?
It was.
You know, it's even easier.
I thought it was a unique experience. So now when I drive into the office, I have that memory of coming, off the exit and under the bridge and heading towards Confederation Park. It was heading towards the lake. It was just a beautiful fall day, and a very popular run. So, but to know that your dad was a part of that construction it comes full circle for me. So, so I want to take this opportunity. I want to learn a little bit more. I think you have some stories to tell me. So I'm just wanting to know, how did your dad become involved in Hamilton East Kiwanis Homes?
I'll start with that one.
Well, that one you two are going to have to start with. Yeah.
Well,
It was before Joanne and I were even born.
not Kiwanis Homes though, Cam.
Oh, Kiwanis Homes.
After he was mayor, and
Yeah.
this notion came up for the whole Kiwanis Home projects, and he took a real leadership role in the very first development. You know more about that.
Yeah, well, if you don't mind, the homes part, because I was involved with Kiwanis for some time. Also, I was a member. And what happened was that I believe he lost his election, if I'm not mistaken, mayor election. There was a recession, and the recession, I believe, was like 21%. The loans, a mortgage.
Yeah.
So what he did is that there was another member, Bill Sinclair, a home builder, had a few of his right-hand men, carpenters, that were off. And I think what he did was convinced the government to lend him money, that these people were on unemployment, tradespeople, and use them and give them a little bit of extra money to work for Kiwanis. So it would be subsidized. They would be subsidizing the unemployment that they were taking. So they purchased a home in East End Hamilton. Now the home, I can't remember.
It's on Barton.
Was it on Barton Street? Yeah.
Wasn't it as units?
It was, yes, that was
Yeah.
it. That's right. That was on Barton Street, I believe, near a block or two, almost at Victoria Park. That's right. It was an old bank.
Yes.
And they converted that old bank into, that's right, the project was.
I remember that.
US, yeah, the US.
It wasn't a little project.
Yeah, it was a fair sized project. And they put that, it's still there, the brick veneer in the front, a wall and everything. That's still there. Yeah, that's right. So that's how it all started. That, and then they started purchasing other homes and doing the same thing until it grew up to what it was at one point in time. I think when I was involved, it was at one point, $10.5 million budget building a year. And that's got to be at least, that was 90. Yeah, that was around just a late 80s, early 90s. That proved to be that big at one point in time. So
yeah. How long was he involved?
As a result of that, Dad won the International Kiwanian of the Year from that project. So it made a big impact throughout Kiwanis. And it was a great success story and has continued in Kiwanis' history since then.
yeah.
Oh, look, Dad's behind me.
Oh, there you go. That goes.
So how
See,
long?
Paul, I just learned something from you because I didn't know all those details. I thought after the election, Mom just wanted him out of the house.
Yeah,
Well, there's part of that.
that's part of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she paid for the gas too. Get him out. We're going to wander. You have to keep us in control, okay?
That's why she's.
I'm going to do my best. Yep, that's okay.
Brian's not falling asleep on the job.
No. We
way.
don't want to miss. Sandy's going to be here shortly.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Okay, that's the other brother.
I wanted to ask you, what 3 characteristics best describe your father, Jack McDonald?
Hmm.
It's very,
No 4-letter words, right?
it's very hard to narrow it down to 3.
3-letter, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
he experienced so much in his life and experienced every day to the fullest.
Yeah.
And he was so many things. To narrow it down to 3 would be very difficult for me.
Yeah.
He was very kind. He was, Cam, funny.
It was funny.
Among the funniest.
Among the funniest.
Yeah.
And he was acutely aware of his fellow man.
Yeah.
You know, in the sense of the what other people had to do to thrive and survive, and he understood the everyman.
There's a lot of people that didn't understand him. That's why it's so hard to put in some words. But he lived life. A philosophy of his life was you only live once, and once is enough if you know how to do it right.
I wasn't so sure of that in the last
The
days.
last, yeah. Well, yeah,
He could have used a little more time.
He'd
but
say, Paulo, put your hand up for everything. We got to go. We got to do it. Just once.
Certainly, every day he didn't miss a day.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting perspective to have, because so many of us forget that. We're just, so busy getting up and getting done what we have to do. But he certainly had a joy in his life every day.
Mm-hmm.
Funny to the last minute.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was always.
Trish, I remember the day before he died, a nurse at the hospice walked in and said, "So how you doing, Mr. McDonald?" His response was, "Are you kidding? The shape I'm in, I can't afford to buy green bananas."
That was one of his lines.
That was one
That's
of
him.
many lines.
Wait a minute. It wasn't his father, his grandfather, and great uncle have a Broadway show.
Vaudeville.
Vaudeville show.
Vaudeville.
Yeah. So that
love of entertaining certainly was in the gene pool.
That's sense of humor. Yeah.
And the sense of humor and the showmanship, Cam.
Yep.
He was many things, but he was one of my favorite people. He was the guy that I called every day, and sought out to have a nice bottle of wine and a good meal, and he sought us out on a daily for that.
It's true.
No regrets.
No.
No regrets.
What do you think your dad would feel about this project? That
Elated, beside himself.
Yeah, you would.
He's feeling muzzled right now. And he can't shout it from the rafters. He would be just so honored. He would be truly elated and excited.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Kiwanis meant a lot to him.
Kiwanis, when my mom and dad were interned, there was 3 things that went in with their ashes. My mom's brooch from her sister, a family photograph of when we were all young children, and dad's Kiwanis pin. So that tells you, Kiwanis was right next to family, and it was in his life for more than 50 years. And he,
I thought it was, on occasion, I thought it was a tie.
Yeah, well, yeah, there were times, and as I sit here and think about his role in Kiwanis, one of the things that is making me laugh is Kiwanis was always a lunch meeting.
That's right.
Thursdays at lunch,
Nice.
and there was no other place Dad was going to be. And then they changed it to Friday morning at 7:00 because there were young people coming in, and they couldn't function
Recruiting.
by taking 2 hours out of their workday. So Dad proceeded to go to those meetings fresh out of bed, in his pajamas, his bathrobe, his slippers, and he refused to comb his hair as a silent protest to the banishment of his favorite luncheon
That's right.
of the week.
And no matter how bad the food was,
He would,
Thursday lunch.
and we would say, you went to the meeting, you made your point. No, as long as they want to do it in the morning, I'm wearing my pajamas. He was a character.
Yes, it does sound.
And, he didn't do it in a snarky way. He was having
No, he wouldn't.
fun.
In fact, if someone said, is this some kind of protest? He would go, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
That's great. So how many years was he involved in Kiwanis Homes? I know you're speaking of a number of
Oh,
years.
well, 50 years at least.
At least 50 years in
I
Kiwanis.
think in the other room I have a paper. Hang on.
Yeah,
Right.
at least,
Yeah.
I know Kiwanis itself was 50 years or more.
Yes, yeah.
Kiwanis Home was from day one.
So he's been involved since. That's
Day one.
fantastic. Yeah, very good.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna wait for Joanne to come back.
This is April 2010, and they were celebrating, Kiwanis was celebrating 70 years of community service and 40 years of Kiwanis Bingo, with a little snap of Jack there as the longest serving member. And this was the month before he died. And it was in the 57 or something like that, because after he died, they had a beautiful luncheon for him the week after he died, and to celebrate that he was the longest serving member, and from his 20s.
Yeah.
So he was elected alderman, and the only reason he even ran for alderman was the only other candidate was a communist. So he decided he had to even out the playing
I
field.
think maybe we'll have to cut that one out. Maybe we
They
should.
can cut out whatever they want. You're not. And I think shortly thereafter, he was involved in the formation of the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes.
So it was at the onset. It was in the, at the birth of Kiwanis, Hamilton East.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So what I always, his passion, his commitment to his community, but obviously his involvement and volunteering. What does that mean to you and your father, that spirit of volunteerism?
Well, he wasn't a politician to me. The bulk of his
Oh,
life,
no.
other than earning a living, the bulk of his life. And when I say the bulk, I mean, Dad was home at 5:30. He took out his cufflinks, he rolled up his sleeves, he took his tie, he put it over his shoulder, and up the 5 kids and Mom and Dad, we ate together every night.
Yes.
And then he would lay down for about 15 minutes, and we'd see him in the morning because he was going to Kiwanis or the United Way or whatever, wherever that he thought he was needed. And he went. And he was involved. I mean, if you see his curriculum vitae, and I should probably send that to you if you don't have it, it's really
It's remarkable. No, it is remarkable. Yes.
Yeah. We didn't see him a lot, but when we saw him, he was 100%. Around the dinner table when we were growing up as kids, and my sister Nancy was the oldest, and she'd be 71. And I'm 58, so there was a long way to go between all of us. But whether you were 5 or 15, you'd go around the table and each of us would have to comment on what current events we had noticed for the day and what our opinions were about them. So it was always memorable to be with Dad.
Right.
Always.
True.
Yeah. Oh. That's right, fantastic. Cam, I wanted you just to touch on, just earlier, you mentioned to us about remembering going to Barton Street, one of our.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I went with him and Bill Sinkler. And I remember, I could be wrong, but Joanne, correct me if I'm wrong, but Frank Cook was involved too, was he?
Yes. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was involved when Frank Cook was there too.
It was just a stellar group of guys to a man.
Yes.
They were fun, and they were there for the benefit of the community.
Right.
And that's a kind of an era gone by in some respects. But they were just really felt they had to give back.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm picking
Tricia,
up on that. Go ahead.
Tricia, do you know oh God, Terry Cook? It's Frank Cook's son, who was the regional chairman.
Yes. Okay.
At my dad's celebration of life, about 30 seconds before I'm supposed to go on the stage to talk about my father, he said, "I got a great line for you." And I said, "What?" He said, "Your dad would be very disappointed there weren't more protesters." And I actually said it.
Right. Oh, but I think what I'm picking up from you, he left a tremendous mark on the community.
Oh,
Absolutely.
If what I'm hearing you say is that maybe people might not always agreed, but I think underlying, they probably saw his passion and his dedication
Yeah.
and commitment to his community. And then you're looking at a legacy that's been left, a huge mark on the city of Hamilton, from all of his years as, in political service, but also, more importantly, as that community leader and philanthropist. That's fantastic. So
I would say that was probably more important to him than the politics.
right.
yeah,
Yes.
Is that fair,
Yeah.
Joanne?
yeah.
Kiwanis, overall, Kiwanis Homes, Kiwanis Boys and Girls Club, Kiwanis overall was very, very important to him.
Very.
Yes.
Very, very important. And it's sad that, of course, our lifestyles don't have younger people involved in community service as they did years ago. But the group of people that were there, I met all those names at the end of their careers or their lives, basically, at Kiwanis. But they were all 100% for Kiwanis and Kiwanis Homes and the Boys and Girls Club, and for the kids in the area.
Yeah. They weren't worried about their resume or
They didn't care about the
photo
resume.
ops
Yes,
or
that's right.
not at all. They wanted, and they loved their camaraderie,
That's right.
and they really were a band of brothers.
And I think you said it right. They weren't worried. And with the Kiwanis Homes, when it was all started, your dad never really cared of the photo shows.
No,
He didn't want to hug babies. He didn't want to.
no.
It
He
wasn't an
loved
election.
to hug babies.
Yeah, but no, an election was one thing. But when it came to Kiwanis Homes,
Oh, it's a different thing.
it was a different thing. He just wanted the best for people. What it stood for. Kiwanis Homes, like I think we spoke right about that. Kiwanis was to create a middle class, and that's what a legacy he wanted to keep behind.
And home ownership.
Yes, that's the whole idea of that middle class to have a
Home
home
ownership that was
and to
unattainable.
yes
To
to
make
people.
it a reality for people in the community.
Yeah.
And I have to say, and Kim, I'm sure you agree, Dad loved to reach a consensus, but it didn't bother him if you didn't agree with him. Right? It didn't change.
You know what I'm thinking about right now?
Oh, it could be a myriad.
Deciding whether or not he's going to run,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
entire family says no. So 6 people say no. Dad says, "Oh, I guess I have the tiebreaker. I'm going to run."
Yeah.
That's him in a nutshell.
Yeah. But I mean, if he believed in something, he wasn't malleable. That wasn't.
No, it's not.
It was not
No.
going to be exchanged for anything or bargained as a
Nope.
chip. If he believed in something, that was it.
And
And that's a rarity.
That's Kiwanis Homes. He believed in it.
Yeah,
He believed
absolutely.
in the people in the Northeast End. He believed that they needed something, and that's how it all started.
And we lived in the East End, so it was part of our community.
Right. Yeah. So he
Yeah.
was really giving back into his
Oh.
neighborhood. Yeah.
There's one thing to give money.
Mhm.
You can surely give money to a hospital or a university, but usually those people have too much of it and they're using it for that tax break. This man did because he wanted to.
There's nothing more valuable than your time.
It's his time.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's not tax deductible.
No.
That's right. And
Mm.
that's really what it was all about. It was his time. He wanted to make sure that some people had a roof over their heads.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And pride.
Yes.
Pride.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that they could take care of their families and they could keep their families safe
Yeah.
and build a life.
Yes.
You know, that was Kiwanis was the stepping stone to building that life where they would have eventually achieved home ownership.
That's right.
And that just tickled my dad pink that
Mhm.
that people could get this chance that they wouldn't otherwise have.
And less now.
Yeah.
Yes.
The price of houses and whatnot, it's
Yeah.
less now. And it's
Yeah.
sad, Imagine being a single mother
Mhm.
and, going to a bank to ask for money to
We're
purchase a
working
home
minimum wage.
and working a minimum wage, and they just give you a hard time. And that's the whole idea between actually between the Boys and Girls Club was too.
Yeah.
Boys and Girls Club was started basically to get the kids off the East End, Hamilton, off the streets.
Yeah.
And they did put a lot of people through university. Now, Bill, I understand Bill Bain was also, I believe so, I may be mistaken, was put through university, was a young man a member of the Boys and Girls Club, and put through and became who he was at the end, right? Until his passing. So you know, that was the legacy of, or still is, the Boys and Girls
Well,
Club.
in the 50 years,
Yeah, and now the homes.
thousands of people
Thousands.
have benefited and do. And when we were talking about this morning, we have a special needs daughter, and she's been out of high school for 3 years.
Yeah.
And she said, well, you tell them I worked at the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
She said, you worked at the Boys and Girls Club? And sure enough, she did, on a co-op.
Yes.
So she spent 6 months working at the Boys and Girls Club, which I had completely forgotten about. I got 3 kids, you know, and I'm trying to stay today. That's get through today.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a big part of.
Sandy, would you like to join us?
No, he's gonna.
No, I'm fine.
He's shell shocked.
That's fine. When you think about, when I hear you speak and I hear your dad pioneered this movement, starting and passion about giving back, centered around housing and the need. And yet today, that need is still so critical in Hamilton. Actually, you know, across our province, our country, we're facing this parallel time of, you know, ensuring that we have for those affordable housing. How do you think he would he be surprised or respond to today's times and situations that we're in terms of still having to advocate and create, you know, this?
His response was
affordable housing.
Yeah, his response would be, we got to do more and we've got to do it now.
We got to fix it now.
Emphasis on the now.
Yeah. And the thing is that I understand some issues with the Kiwanis homes and all that through the years. He'd be ecstatic that you're getting back on your feet and you're moving again.
Yeah.
If he was around, he probably would have done it a lot earlier.
Be hard to keep him away.
He would have been there long if he felt that, if he saw a movement going the opposite way, or no, not the opposite way, going back to the roots of Kiwanis homes,
Rejuvenating.
And you're rejuvenating, he'd be right there. He'd be there every day. And somehow, somewhere, making phone calls. He'd say, don't worry, I'll lock the doors. You just make your way home. I'll lock the doors for you.
And he'd come over and he'd say, you just can't believe what those kids are doing.
What those kids are doing.
Right, Cam?
Yeah.
What those kids.
Absolutely.
He'd be thrilled.
Yeah.
He'd be really thrilled at what you're doing. Yes.
That's great. Well, I'm going to ask each of you just to close. Is there, what's one thing you want us to take away to have in this, for us at the groundbreaking of this project? What do you want our community to know about your dad?
Jack's still here.
Okay.
His legacy lives on.
And he would make sure of that.
Yeah.
No, I would say that the thing that sticks with me is he was steadfastly proud of being involved with Kiwanis, steadfastly, and knew it was a good thing for the community, and he also knew it was a good thing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be rewarded. He felt so rewarded when
Absolutely.
projects came together and he could see the benefits. And just even to go to the Boys and Girls Club and watch kids in the pool, he'd just be ear to ear that, you know, this 50 years later, this was a good idea. This worked.